Hi, and welcome to the Wednesday Word. This is called Who is My Neighbor by M. Gingrich. According to Webster, a neighbor is defined as someone living or located near another. For those of us who live in rural areas, we often think of a neighbor as one who lives within about a mile of us. In more suburban areas, there is a likelihood the distance would be much less. Perhaps in more general terms, a neighbor is anyone within seeing distance. Defining our neighbors is usually based on an individual perspective. As I reflect upon my childhood and the neighborhood where I grew up, some of our neighbors were close relatives, and others were simply folks we learned to know because we were neighbors. Back then, neighbors learned to know each other. Of course, we got to know some neighbors better than others, but nonetheless, we knew most of our neighbors. If someone was experiencing a difficulty or a loss, the whole neighborhood was soon aware of it and came together to help, because that's what neighbors did. In our modern world, full of technological advances, I fear we have lost some of that neighborhood camaraderie. We are occupied with our own small universe of things to do and places to go. We leave the house in the morning and we return at night. We stay indoors because it's air conditioned, or we sit out back on the secluded patio. Only on rare occasions do we sit on the front porch. Some of us learn more about our neighbor's interest when their mail is in our mailbox than we do from a face-to-face conversation. Well, hopefully there is enough neighborly kindness and friendliness in all of us that we are able to wave when we pass each other. Needless to say, the lifestyle changes, advances in technology, and modern conveniences have not enhanced cultural neighborliness, but rather they made it seem almost unnecessary. In fact, I'm afraid many of us may be asking the same question a lawyer once asked Jesus, and for the same reason. Who is my neighbor? Jesus responded to this question with a story of a man who fell among thieves and was left for dead. First, a priest happened by, but he looked the other way, unwilling to get involved. A Levite soon came by and saw this man in need, but he too was so occupied with himself that he offered no assistance. Finally, a Samaritan came along and stopped to help. He washed the man's wounds and bandaged him up. He sat him on his donkey and took him to a place where he could lodge. He paid the innkeeper and promised upon his return to pay any other expenses that might be incurred. After recounting this story to the lawyer, Jesus then asked, "Which of these three do you think was a neighbor to the man in need?" The lawyer replied, "The one who helped him, of course." And Jesus replied, "Go do the same." The lawyer was looking for an excuse because he knew he was guilty. Like this lawyer, sometimes we are looking for excuses so we can justify our actions. Think about it. Are we doing neighborly deeds to those around us? Our neighbors are more than just folks who live in close proximity. Our neighbors are those we pass on the highway. Our neighbors are those we do business with and shop beside at the grocery store. Our neighbors are co-workers at our place of employment, the bank teller, the clerk at the mini market, a receptionist, the dentist, the mechanic, the police officer. These are people we rub shoulders with on a daily basis. These are people who need an encouraging word to help them face the everyday demands of life. They are neighbors in need of mercy and forgiveness, just like you and I. They are human beings craving love and compassion. Give them a smile, a listening ear, 10 minutes of your day, a heartfelt thank you. In Matthew chapter 19, verse 19, Jesus made a profound, heart-searching statement. He said, "Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself." It is in this context that he provided the lawyer with a true life example and a reminder of his obligation. Go and do likewise, because everyone is our neighbor. Have a blessed week.